All right, welcome back, cruisers.
Good morning.
Today is Sunday, January 9th. We are on the second leg of our back-to-back tour, or our back-to-back cruise with Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas. We wanted to update you on a number of things. I'm kind of reading from the list here because I don't want to miss anything. We want to talk about our onboard COVID test, the recent cruise cancellations, COVID departures from Fort Lauderdale that we saw, and at the end of the video we'll show you a document that Royal Caribbean was passing out to passengers as they boarded our ship for this leg of the tour, this cruise.
Which we actually never got the information that was on the information that they passed out to the people boarding, which is interesting.
Yeah, as back-to-back passengers, we never got the letter.
Anyway.
One other point that we'll cover too is we are this morning at I think it was about 6 a.m. we turned away from Nassau, which was to be our first port. We'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end of the video. We got a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and get started. First, our onboard COVID testing. Since we're cruising back to back, we're required to get tested before arriving in Fort Lauderdale, and at 9 a.m. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say there were 7 of us, so we just scheduled the appointment a couple days before. I think we had to do it by 10 a.m. the day before the last sea day.
Right, and so at 9 a.m. we got a phone call to come down to deck 3 to the conference room that has been converted into a COVID testing center, where the staff were all very professional, very kind. They
Super organized.
Yeah.
More organized than myself. I actually registered my kid with the wrong birth date and spelled his name wrong.
Yeah,
so
minor details.
It took a couple minutes extra, but they fixed that. But they were super organized and on top of it. They did a great job.
And I think even with that, the little mishap there, it still only took us like 20 minutes to get all 7 of us tested in and out. They emailed us our results at 5 p.m. that day. That was kind of the weird thing, that we got tested in the morning and didn't get our results until the evening. But obviously we're on the cruise, so we were all negative.
And I thought they were doing the PCR test. I thought they were doing a rapid PCR test. And I asked, and they said no, they actually were doing the antigen testing.
Okay, let's move on to cruise cancellations. Since our last update, Royal Caribbean has canceled the Serenade, the Symphony, and the Jewel of the Seas, noting various return dates anywhere from January, the end of January, all the way out to the beginning of March. All right, next let's talk about the COVID positive departures from Fort Lauderdale. We pulled into Port Everglades around 5:15 on Saturday morning. As soon as the ship was secured, the gangways were put out on deck 5 and connected the ship, but a separate gangway was put out down on deck 3 that was right onto the dock itself. So I was kind of curious about that. They did put a podium out, so I assumed that they were going to be loading crew, possibly. And we did hear that Vision was in port, and we did hear later on for some crew that they were going to be taking on some new crew here in Fort Lauderdale. So anyways, around 7:30 a.m., a caravan of black SUVs pulled up alongside the ship and began loading passengers into the vehicles. This is not a nefarious thing, but a line of black SUVs pulling up to the ship draws some attention, obviously. I did notice, I didn't notice any crew being loaded. All of the people that were loaded into the vehicles themselves were family. You could tell there was children, couples. There was even a few. I saw, I think, 3 kids in strollers being loaded into the SUVs, and they were all loaded into separate vehicles. The drivers were all wearing medical PPEs, and each truck loaded one family group basically and their luggage.
Which, that makes sense. And it's going to take a long time, and it appeared that it was taking a long time.
Yeah, I watched it for I think like an hour and a half before I had to go to another thing. But really awesome, like that they're loading them up, took them down with a ton of care. There was lots of crew on the dock itself by that gangway, helping them get their bags, loading up the SUVs, and just making sure it was a smooth transition for them. I did notice that some of the SUVs left the port completely once they were loaded. Other ones left and went around to the port parking lot and basically were just ferrying the individuals from the side of the ship to their vehicles. Oh, when they left, they all came back. So there was, I want to say 13 of them. I think there was 13 in total. even though they left with passengers, they then looped around and came back and picked up more passengers and left again. It looked pretty organized. And when the SUVs pulled in, they all started immediately, like in synchronized, backing up to the ship like they had done it before. So my guess is that's kind of the process every week here. Again, I counted 54 passengers, but that was in the limited time that I was able to watch. The SUVs were still rolling through when I left. However, this document that I'm going to be showing you here that was handed out to passengers as they came on board notes that there was 4.95% positive cases on the ship, but that's a combined number between crew and passengers, so we don't really know what the breakdown is there. The other thing I wanted to mention is that that 4.95%, we don't know if that includes the passengers and the crew that were offloaded in St. Kitts and St. Martin. So
yeah, we don't
know what that total number equals up to. All right, so one last thing. This morning we were turned away from Nassau along with 2 other cruise ships. Our captain reported that it was because of high winds and they weren't able to make it in through the narrow passage that you have to go through to get to the port in Nassau. He also mentioned that we were heading to the Caribbean, no real mention of where, and that they would update us once they knew what our next port of call would be. So
we have not been updated.
Not yet, and it's
10:30 almost
now, and that all happened this morning at about 6:37. So
yeah,
that's all we have for now for this update, but we'll definitely come back and give you guys an update when we hear more, and hopefully maybe some excursion videos once we get to a port of call. All right, thank you guys, see you later.
Bye.
Hi guys, I hope you liked our video. If you did, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, and hitting the notification bell. And make sure you share this video with your friends because it helps out a ton and it keeps the algorithm happy. Bye!